Literature genres. Genre means a type or style. It's a French word. Genre is the special characteristics we use to define groups of artistic things. Let's look at some examples of genre. Musical genres include country, rock, rap, hip-hop, jazz, and classical. For movies, action, adventure, science fiction, comedy, and mystery are examples of genre. Let's dive in to literature genres. Literature genres include poetry, fiction, and nonfiction. These are the three main genre categories for literature, but there is more than 100 specific genres. Poetry. It's written in lines and stanzas, not sentences and paragraphs. Poetry focuses on emotion and uses figurative language. Some poems follow strict rules, and some are more free-flowing. Poetry is all about carefully chosen words and structure, rhythm, rhyme, repetition, alliteration, onomatopoeia, metaphor, and simile are all techniques that are commonly used in poetry. Poetry is a special genre. Poetry isn't fiction or nonfiction. Poetry is a genre. If you'd like to learn more about poetry, you can find it here. Fiction is another genre. Fiction is not real. Fiction is created by imagination. It tells a story. Fiction has characters, and it has a setting, and usually it has a problem and solution. So, let's look at some genres of fiction. I think you'll recognize them. Fantasy. Stories about things that could not exist in real life, fantastical settings and events, magical events, people, or creatures, things that are impossible in reality. And fantasy is often set in another place or time. Fairy tales. Fairy tales have magical characters and imaginary creatures and fantastic events. These are both fiction. Mystery is another type of fiction. It has detectives trying to solve crimes. Science fiction is stories that imagine the future of scientific and technological advances, and the setting is often space or other planets. Fables are short stories that teach a lesson called a moral. Animals often act like people in these stories. Realistic fiction is a type of a fiction where events that could happen in real life happen. The characters are realistic and the settings are realistic. That's still fiction, though. Historical fiction are stories that didn't really happen, but are based on real events in history. They're always set in the past. The characters are realistic. The stories are things that it could have happened, and often things that could have or did happen in the real world of the past are part of the story. Nonfiction is another big category for genre. It's 100% factual and shares information. Often it has text features that help readers understand information, such as diagrams and labels, charts, maps, and photographs. Usually this nonfiction has a table of contents, an index, a glossary, to help readers locate and understand information. Expository text is the main example of nonfiction. It's an informational text, and it shares facts about a topic. And often these are about science or history topics. Nonfiction articles or expository or informational text can be found in magazines and also in things like your textbooks. Biography is about a person. It's based on a real person's life, and it includes the life story or maybe just a part of their life story. Narrative nonfiction is something true that is told like a story. The information is true, and the way it is written is interesting and descriptive, and it reads like a story, but it's actually nonfiction. It's one of those tricky ones to figure out. Literature genres. Fiction is a genre, nonfiction is a genre, and poetry is a genre. And that shows you the three main genres and a couple of the subgenres too. I hope you enjoyed learning about literature genres. Please like and subscribe, and check out other learning about genres videos on Learn with Me, Mrs. Sullivan.